What is up, everybody? Scott Newby here from Living It with Scott and Cat podcast and Friday Night AV. I'm super excited to be hanging out with you guys tonight for episode 18. It's February 23rd, and we got a lot of cool stuff to talk about tonight. I got a special guest tonight. I was actually a special guest on the same gentleman's podcast last night, and we're looking to have a really good time with everybody. So first thing I want to say is special thanks to all the subscribers. We just hit, I think, 2,100 subscribers today. Absolutely amazing, man. You guys rock this community. I tell you, it's awesome. All the love and support that Kat and I get. You guys are absolutely amazing. All the likes, the shares, all the comments, all that stuff certainly helps the channel and the algorithm and all the shit I don't understand. But it's certainly, we're reaching people in different countries, different states, all over the place. So the love and support we get from you guys is absolutely unbelievable. So all our Patreon members, you guys rock. I've been putting out more videos on the Patreon channel. I'll be doing some behind the scenes stuff from Bass Brings Us Together and from M-Wave, just sharing some extra stuff with you guys. And I need to stop saying I got reprimanded by Catherine. I say too much, so I'm getting all my out right now. And no more acoustics. It's all acoustics from now on. We are going professional around here. I mean, maybe just a little bit. So it's funny. Her and I, we banter back and forth, but we have a good time. For everybody missing Kat, she will be on with me next Friday night. We're going to do our regular Living It with Scott and Cat podcast. We got some cool new stuff to talk about some vacations, some experiences that we've had. We will be on next Friday night at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. And then following after that at 9 p.m. Central Standard Time, I will be on with Ace of Base Home Theater and with Don Dunn from Audioholics and Haven Smart. And we're going to be talking about, why do you need a home theater? Why do you need a media center space? Why do you need a room dedicated in your house or a living room dedicated for this hobby? Not so much maybe need, but want, and just kind of all the basics and metrics that go into that. So certainly looking forward to hanging out with those boys again. I have to ask this question to everybody that is attending Bass Brings Us Together. So we're at a crossroad. So obviously, as you guys know, for my event, we will be doing the 2-channel RTJ setup in the living room and JTR setup in the basement, which are our personal home theaters and 2-channel setups. But the garage setup is all donated. Damn, I said again. We're going to start a drinking game. Every time I say you got to take a drink. And if you live through this episode, I'll send you a gold star in the mail. So anyway, what do you guys that are coming to Bass Brings Us Together want to experience for the garage setup? We're going to set up a nice little basic 2-channel setup in the garage. Equipment that I do not own. Buckeye Amps is already gracious enough. They're going to be sending us one of their nice Purify 2-channel amplifiers. And we got a Blue Sound node, and we will be streaming that through a pair of JTR speakers. So I need to know, do you guys want to experience the HT110s, which is the 10-inch coaxial 2-way, and an RS1 18-inch subwoofer for a 2.1 setup? Or would you rather just hear 2-channel speakers like a pair of 210s or a pair of 212s? So those are the 3 choices for Bass Brings Us Together. I'm just going to do a poll, and whatever you guys decide on, that is what I'm going to get here. So we can do a 2.1 with 2 HT110s and 1 RS1. We can do a pair of 210 RTs or a pair of 212 RTs. So whatever you guys want to experience, you let me know. Oh, easy HT Tech. Laugh out loud. Take a drink, Ike. JR, Jack, Oprah, I love just saying Oprah Winfrey's on the show. Thanks for joining us again, brother. All you guys have certainly been a great support to this channel. We certainly appreciate it. And without further, Easy HT Tech. Last Sunday, he was my special guest. Me and him got on and hung out for about an hour, had some good conversations. And I actually have his partner for his podcast on this evening. So without further ado, the special guest for this evening, which is a familiar name and face in this hobby and audio get-togethers and podcasts, I would certainly like to welcome Don Hensley from Horizon Home Theater to the show. My brother Don, what's up, man?
What's going on? Sounds like I got to catch up because I counted about 4 in there. So let me.
Did you? Yeah, it's funny. My first chat. Hello, all. Hey, David. Thanks for joining the show, man. We certainly appreciate if you guys have any questions for either one of us. Before we get started with Don, I was on their show last night as a special guest. I hung out with those guys for about an hour, hour and a half. We had some good conversations. Home Theater Hub is Don. Damn, I said again. Man, here I go. Easy HT Tech and Horizon Home Theater collab for a podcast called Home Theater Hub, and I made a banner for these guys. And if you guys get into, they bring, I mean, it's almost like a party hotline for home theater. People are popping in and out. I mean, it was kind of cool because, I mean, last night, Don, what did you guys have? I mean, you probably had like 6 guests just pop in and out within a couple of hours, right?
Yeah. So the whole purpose of this is kind of like the video that Youth Man made today. I don't know if you saw that drop or not, but it's all about community to us. So we really want to, create an atmosphere to where everybody can just come in, chit chat about home theater or even whatever they want to chit chat about. Right. So doesn't matter to us. One thing that, and there's an for me, right? So one, one thing that we do try to do on every show, as long as we have a guest, is we will try to feature a remote home theater tour. So whether it's speakers in a box, a home theater in a box, or it's a full blown dedicated room with JTRs. How many is it, Scott? 20 JTRs, 18 JTRs.
Well, if we count the whole house, I have 20 JT or 18-inch subs. If we count both systems, yeah. So
Yeah. So it's whatever you guys like, right? So we'd like for everyone to join. You can actually send us an email at Home Theater Hub Live at Google.com, and we'd love to have you as a guest. So first of all, thanks, Scott, for having us on your show. Really enjoy watching your Friday night shows, especially. I actually like the actual sidestep that you take away from home theater, and you're incorporating your personal life with this so that we can actually get to know you and your wife. So thank you for sharing that with us.
hey, man, no doubt, it's certainly the hobby's been with me. It's kind of silly to even say, but like some of my first memories of my life is evolved around like home audio and home video with my dad. So it's I've grown up with it my whole life, and now just like over this last couple years, I've been opening a home, going to a lot of other people's homes, checking out their systems, going to a lot of audio, not a lot of audio shows, but a couple audio shows, and we just have a lot of people over here, and it's all the community. We so many people come through here like, oh, I didn't know that people hung out like this or people did this. I've been stuck in my basement by myself for the last 10 years because I just I just, and that's a great thing. Like Youth Man's doing with M-Wave is it's just showing that home theater community is out there. I love going to, check out other people's systems. I just went over to a guy's house last week and we hung out for a couple hours on a Saturday, checked out his systems. I got people coming over here all the time and watching other podcasts. It's so nice that now if I have a little bit of downtime, I can throw on Youth Man's channel or throw on the Home Theater Hub or just throw on, and it's nice to have it just in the background and just hear guys talking about stuff that you're really passionate about.
Yeah, absolutely. One thing that our show is not a little bit different, but I always try to put in around 2 to 3 hours on the show. So we start at 9:30. We usually go to about 12 or 12:30. And the reason I try to do that is because in my own experience, I love listening to the podcast, right? So I'll be working with my earbuds in, and literally as I'm working, I'm listening to some kind of podcast, or I'm listening to, some kind of theater tour, or, even if it involves video, I'll set my phone off to the side and catch it out of the corner of my eye while I'm working, but constantly still paying attention to the show. And I'm actually building my home theater, a dedicated room right now. I had a home theater in my living room, but I'm building a dedicated home theater. And every time I go in there, some sort of podcast is on, right? Some sort of home theater podcast that I enjoy, watching or listening to. And it sometimes it can be a distraction because it'll pull me away from the work. Right? So,
Yeah.
I want, let me rewind that. I need to understand that a little bit better. So.
Yeah, and so before we kind of dive in to all of this, for the people that haven't listened to you or haven't met you, because you do go to a couple audio events and you're on podcasts and that, who is Don Hensley behind the scenes? Who are we chatting with tonight?
So, father of two, my older son is 27. I kind of discussed this with you back in the green room. I have a younger son, 4 years old, and I always joke, yes, he was planned. But but do I need to be kicked in the head? Maybe, but yeah, yes, he was planned. And then been married to my wife, loving wife. She's embracing this hobby with me, not quite as much as yours, but she's definitely ready for me to be done with the theater for sure, because it's been a long ongoing event with this thing, unfortunately. Just life in general. I mentioned to you that I work 2 jobs, and then my wife is actually a physician, so she's, we're just super busy, especially with a 4-year-old. So it's consumed a lot of time, and trying to get the theater, up and going. It's just been a challenge, but I've got a full steam ahead for the past month or month and a half, to where I'm about done with my drywall. I got half of it hung. All the Smurf tubing and everything else is ran to where it needs to be. All the framing's done. But yeah, so we can see the light at the end of the tunnel for this project.
I'm not even familiar, Don. I mean, we got some questions and a lot of topics to cover here tonight. And I appreciate everybody coming in here on a Friday night. I like to keep these around an hour. I don't want to tie everybody up. Everybody's had a long week, so we appreciate you guys just hanging out with us on a Friday night. But in my mind, can you kind of just lay this out? I mean, what size room are we talking? Kind of maybe a little quick rundown on the equipment we're talking. And are you going to be featuring this on your guys' channel when it's wrapped up?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I kind of not this past episode, but so if you go to Easy HT Tech, which is Ike, my co-host, or you go to Horizon Home Theater, we stream to both channels when we do the Home Theater Hub. I know it's kind of confusing. We'll probably combine it into one channel at some point in time, but we're also trying to grow our channels. My channel is probably 3 years old, but I've just never done anything with any consistency. And I know that, just like you, you've mentioned before that you hate editing, and so do I. So so that's hence the reason for all the live shows, right? So it's much easier. I have some live unboxings on there that I've done for literally one of the first Zapitis that was the newer version of the Zapiti reference that was in the wild. I was one of the first dealers to grab that. So those of you that don't know, I also sell AV equipment through Horizon Home Theater. My room will actually be some sort of a demo room. I've had this plan for quite some time. I know there's other people out there doing the same. Matt from Brolic Media, he's got a nice demo room that he's set up, and he sells stuff out of his room. I believe Ryan Ascend AV is working on his. And I've been working on this for 3 years. It was in the plans to have 2 or 3 projectors to where someone can come in and take a look at it. Eventually I would like to have 2 different screens. I currently have a 240 screen, the Stewart G3 or G4, I can't remember, Stewart 120, acoustically transparent. It's 160 inches. And then I'd like to put in a drop down 16:9, just for my customers to be able to see the difference. I've not really promoted this at all, and this isn't a promotion show for us. This is just a, talking about my theater basically. But I didn't plan on, announcing anything until we actually got everything up and running. But
What
So
what brands will you be I mean, what brands do you represent, Don? Because I didn't even know that you sold that you were. I mean, what are some of the brands that you represent?
I represent Kaleidoscape. I have All Sound United products, which is Denon Marantz. I also represent Martin Logan. My reason for going to the Florida Audio Show was to try to reach out to some other brands also. So I went up there and made a couple contacts. So hopefully we'll be bringing on a couple other brands also from visiting at the audio show. I sell, what is it? The Center Stage XD. I can't think of the name right off the top of my head for the screens. Seymour screens. So I'm a dealer for Seymour screens. Also, I'm a dealer for JVC projectors. Working on bringing Sony on. So, like I said, this is not a sell show for Don. So, but
Chris
let's go
Seymour's an
on.
awesome guy. He was on my show a month or so ago. I mean, I've met him a couple times in person. Just an awesome guy to talk with. Very knowledgeable. I mean, he's been in the game forever. Chris Seymour he's a great guy. He's a good asset for the home theater community for sure.
Yeah, and this will tell you what kind of salesman I am. I took my guy to M-Wave, one of my customers. I'm like, let's go to M-Wave and check out the screens, right? So that you can choose one that you want. Well, at M-Wave, they were giving better deals than what I could even offer as a dealer. I'm like, dude, you got to buy this screen from him. I can't sell it to you for this. So, take this thing home right now,
Yeah,
So,
and for the people going to M-Wave, you can grab some great deals because these places don't want to box all this up and ship it back because then they got to sell it as used anyway. They'd rather just unload it there. So, man, make some deals. I came home with a dual 18.
wow.
So that definitely because we're driving down there again because you never know, I might come back home with another one.
So getting back to my theater, I'll be running the Martin Logan 60 XTIs for my front center for LCR. Then for my wides, I have the slanted in walls that I'm actually going. They're used for ceiling, but I reached out to Martin Logan and asked him. I said, "Hey, can I use these on a sidewall?" And I thought I could. They said, "Yeah, absolutely. They're angled. That's what they're designed for." So I'll be using those for my wides. In all the speakers are going to be hidden except for maybe my back wall because I do not have enough room on the back wall and I don't want to sacrifice any more space. So 35 XTIs for the side surrounds. So that's a bookshelf. And then side surround for all the side surrounds and rears. I'm actually going to, in stereo, add an extra pair of side surrounds for the 2 rows of seating. So there'll be 11 bed layer channels, 6 Atmos. I have 4 Rel 15s, the Predators, and then I have 2 of the Monolith D2 the 215s. So I'm going to have 8 15s in the room.
Yeah, that'll be a lot of fun.
Yeah, definitely.
I approve that message.
So I got that. As far as equipment, start off with the one that's always bringing the most controversy, Kaleidoscape. Got the Kaleidoscape, got the Zapedi. For processor, I'm running the Lindorf MP60. As far as amplification, I got for my front stage, I'm running the DR3 Emotiva, which is about 600 watts in the 4 ohms per channel. And that may sound like a lot, but literally, once you hit 300 watts, just to get 3 more dB, you're up to 600 watts, right? So it doesn't take long to add up fast, right?
Then another 3 takes you to 1200.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly. So got that. I have the so I have the DR3 for the front. Then I have the XPA 7 and 5 for the bed layer channels. I actually bought a used XPA 5 from Shane Lee, and I'll be using that to power the other set of side surrounds. So hopefully we'll be rocking the 11.4.6, so
Oh man, your buddy's in here giving you a hard time.
Oh, I'm sure they're talking about what's not done, right?
You know, Easy HT Tech Ike says, "Man, Don has big plans. Hopefully, we can complete the room by 2025."
Yeah, like I said, they give me a hard time about it. But one thing I will say is I always preach family first. So I've seen so many of my friends, unfortunately get divorced, and just I always tell my friends, if you don't pay attention to them, somebody else will, right? So, you know, so that's why I always preach that first, family first. Take care of the family first. The theater will eventually get there. It's not as important as my family. So,
Yeah, and that was Kat's saying with this. She goes, "People don't want to hear me talk or that." I said, either I'm going to do it with you or I'm not going to do it at all, because I'm already gone so much that if I'm going to pursue something like this, that I want to do it, together.
absolutely.
So at least it gives us a chance to hang out, do something new. We have a lot of fun. We have a very playful relationship. We give each other a lot of shit. So hey man, as long as everybody's happy, I'm happy. That's all that really matters.
Yeah, definitely. And we're friends on Facebook, and the post you made today was pretty I, I guess not it was pretty inspiring to me, because it was something that made me realize that I definitely should do for my wife on more occasions than I won't go into detail, because I don't know what you want to be out there, but you know um
Well,
definitely.
no, it's fine. I threw up a post to Ken, just letting everybody know I appreciate her. She puts up a lot of shit for me. I work a very crazy schedule. My phone goes off 24/7 all through the night. I help run an emergency sewer and plumbing service out of Chicago. We got a lot of contracts with high rises and hospitals. She's dealt with that for a lot of years. This household runs smoothly because of her. A lot of the kids' caretaking is done because of her. I get caught up in all my own bullshit so much that I don't give her enough credit, and she certainly deserves it. So I like to just throw her some love sometimes. I'm not afraid that everybody knows that. Everybody's probably like, "Oh, look at this pussy," but I tell you what, I'm happy, and we've had a good relationship for 10+ years. So
Exactly, man. You got, like I told you, if you don't pay attention to her, somebody else will, for sure.
yeah.
So, that's always been my motto. So I try to, like I said, preach family first. First thing I did when I came home today was put my work computer away and sat down with the kid and played with him for like 3 hours before jumping on here. And as you can
Well,
see,
yeah, because in 10 years that kid ain't gonna want nothing to do with you, Don.
exactly.
You're not gonna be cool anymore, man.
You might think of me as a YouTuber then. So
Yeah.
I brought my niece in. Shit, was funny because they came over for the holidays, and they wanted to watch something on TV, and jokingly I popped up a video of me and Ike doing the home theater hub, and her jaw about hit the floor. Right, she's like, "Oh my goodness," because that's what she aspires to do. She's like 9 or 10 years old, and then I brought her in and I showed her the setup that I got with a couple cameras and the TVs and a couple monitors and stuff like that, and she was excited. So, but yeah, maybe my son will appreciate me for being a YouTuber later on.
It's funny because we watch stuff, and like even you look at like Shaquille O'Neal's kids, or like when Kobe was still around, his kids. Like you got some of the coolest dads doing some of the coolest stuff, and they're like, "Oh, they're not that big of a deal."
Right.
I'm like, I mean, you guys. So something cool that you just got done doing was you got to attend the Florida audio show. Um, Obviously, I would have loved to make that show because I know there's a lot of cool people there, a lot of cool gear. I mean, in like a short version, can you just kind of explain, like, compared to say M-Wave or Expona, like what is their approach to the hobby? Is it 2-channel home theater? And what was some standout moments that kind of like blew you away? Because on your channel last night, you were showing some very exquisite speakers. I mean, a couple $100,000 a pair. What if somebody, like how I'm asking you about that show, what are just some standout moments? Like, what's the approach from the show, and what are some memories of it that you certainly won't be forgetting anytime soon?
Yeah, absolutely. So I attended the audio what is it, the one in Chicago,
That's
Exponent.
Kona.
I attended that back in 2018, and I was just, fresh into the home theater research and everything else, trying to figure out what I was going to do. I wasn't actually living in this house at that time. I was living in another house and planned on building a theater over top of a garage. We're gonna have to raise the roof and everything else of the garage. But so I flew out there expecting, to be able to see some home theater stuff. And as you know, Xpona is mainly 2 channel. At the time, Emotiva did have a booth set up to where they had Atmos, and I believe JTR actually had like a whole home theater type of setup there
Mhm.
too. So same thing here with the Florida Audio Expo. It's mainly 2 channel. So if you're, if you if the difference between M Wave and this is M Wave is 100% home theater for the most part. Per Listen did have a room of 2 channel last year. I think there was one 2 channel room, but for the most part, it was geared around home theater and demoing different types of speakers in a home theater environment. This the Florida Audio Expo is all geared around 2 channel. And my goal wasn't to go because I'm not a big 2 channel person. I know that you have the JTR set up in the living room, and you and Kat enjoy listening to music in there. But I'm not, truthfully, I'm not a big 2 channel person. I do like the imaging, and sure, I'll sit down and listen to some good music, or if it's producing the nice sound stage and everything. But my heart is actually in the home theater, and my main purpose for going there was, as I mentioned, to make some connections with some other speaker brands to try and bring them on as a dealer. So as far as experience, like you mentioned, I there were some really cool rooms. I mean, I walked into one room that left a lasting impression. Had no clue what it was. It was called Sub Drum or something like that, but I'll have to look it up here. But it literally, the guy took a drum kit and he put speakers inside of the on the drum kit. Literally, the skin of the drum is how they attached the actual speaker. So in the kick drum area, there's a big 18, and in he's got the upper drums. I'm not a drummer, so I don't know the snare drum. I'm just going to call them snare drums. But he turned them front ways, and then he had 2 smaller drivers, coaxial drivers, above the kick drum. It was pretty cool to look at something like that. So,
Yeah, you shared that on your channel last night.
yeah, it was really cool. To look at different aspects of that, and then also there were some speakers there that were kind of shaped like a woman's body, and they sounded phenomenal. And not only that, but they were very pretty speakers, very very elegant speakers. I think they were close to like $200,000 for the pair.
Curves are costly.
Yes. That is true.
I'm gonna
No
get a
matter how
T-shirt
you look
that says that.
Yeah, no matter how you look at it, you are correct. But there was a headphone amp that they had in that same room that literally looked like a person, a woman's body, and the knobs were right in the right places. Let's just put it that way. I don't know how family friendly you want to be here.
No, yeah, we're just whatever's on your mind. It don't matter. We on your channel last night we were all discussing. We didn't know if we like where the speaker terminals were at or not.
Yeah,
Yeah, they had controls at the nipples and then the private parts, and then people were like, "Well, maybe they should be in the back," and they're like, "No, maybe they shouldn't." I
where's
thought
the
maybe it
wire
should.
harness?
Yeah. So no, that's funny. Tango, thanks for joining us, brother. Hey Scott, Tango in the house. Tango's one of my Patreon members, man. He's supported me since day one. I certainly appreciate that, man. He's still in a lot of pain. Just letting the dog out, take some natural herb for my pain. Hope you're doing better than me. I mean, I'm not feeling too good. I'm not feeling too bad tonight. I'm sorry that you're not feeling good, Tango. Thanks for hopping on here. Hopefully we can give you some comedy relief because you know how we do things around here. So everything's nice and loose as long as everybody's smiling, having a good time, then we're doing our job. And Jack says that's pocket change. Hey, Jack. Hey, man, if you got it like that, brother, I'm jealous, man. If you can grab a $200,000 pair of speakers and not worry about it, that's awesome, buddy. You got to hear, man, damn, I said again. We say a lot. You know that?
Yeah. The first time I listened back to my show, I was like, oh my gosh, I got to stop saying. And then I did well for the first 2 episodes, but then after that, the next 2 episodes, then I lost track. So
Jack says he's not serious. I know, Jack, you were just pulling our leg. I was just pulling your leg back, brother. So I understand a lot of people that watch this show, a lot of people watch your show. Obviously, there's a lot of SVS fans out there. You got to hear the new SVS speakers, am I correct?
Yes, and they sounded really, really good. Not that the other, their other models of SVS didn't sound good. When I was at M-Wave, SVS actually, I think the new Martin Logan took first on a blind speaker test, and then SVS came in second for their older models. And I thought they were fantastic then, especially for the money. And that's actually the brand that I went out to talk to. One of the brands I went to go out to talk to see if we can bring them on as a dealer. So we're in talks with them about possibly setting something up. But the new speakers, they had the big dogs there with the 4/8s in them. They were I guess it's like a push-pull type of array that they got set up there to where the 2 magnets are right next to each other, and then they kind of I guess work opposite of each other to stop cabinet residents and stuff like that. And they're actually active. All of them are actually active. There's not passive radiators, so they're actually functioning speakers. So one of the questions that I had to them with being in the home theater realm, I literally asked them, said, hey, I noticed you got these speakers pulled out into the room a little bit. How close can you actually get these speakers to the wall without having the boundary interference and reverb and stuff like that? And they were saying you can get them almost to about a foot off the wall. So with we didn't actually test it, but so I'm interested to possibly get something like that in for review, to take a look at it on the channel, or purchase it just to see what they sound like and see how they would perform in a home theater environment, because my Martin Logans are rear ported. And if you put them up against the wall too close, you do lose some bass. So it doesn't, it's not like a subwoofer where you actually get the room gain from it. But I guess if I corner loaded it may work a little bit better. But if you just put it up against the wall, I've noticed that I do lose some bass out of them, which it's not a big deal because I'm crossing them over in a home theater environment anyway.
Now the new SVS you got listed with, if I'm correct, because I'm not super familiar with their new line, that would be the Titans.
The Titans are the one model down. That would be the model above that. I'm not sure what the biggest ones are. I think the Titans, they said, had the 6.5-inch woofers in them, 98 inches. I believe so. I'd have to look it up and see.
So were they just displaying a 2-channel setup there, or were they doing a full home theater setup?
It was a 5.2. So 5.2.2.
What were they using for subs?
Let's see. I believe it wasn't the big ones. I think it was their 12s. It wasn't the big 16-inch subwoofers that they had.
Oh, so it's probably either the PB 2000s or 3000s.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yep. Okay. Yeah. So they in those areas, they have to really watch the noise. And I did mention that it's mainly 2-channel, but there were 2 home theater setups, and one of them was through Dream Media. They had the Perlisten setup in there, and they had a 5.2.2 also, and then SVS had the 5.2.2 setup, and they both sounded phenomenal.
Now you were at M-Wave, since we're on the topic of audio events, you were at M-Wave last year, correct?
Absolutely, yes, sir.
And you're planning on making the trip out again this year as well, too?
Yeah, my main purpose for M-Wave this year is I want to check out some theaters. So currently I have three VIP tours purchased. I can't remember all of them, but I know I'm going to see Jonathan's Theater. And I believe
Jonathan's is a good time. It's a good time. I went there last year. Man, we got there at like 1 a.m. or something, or midnight. We hung out there till like 2 or 2:30. But yeah, Jonathan has done an amazing. You're going to be blown away. He's absolutely amazing room.
Yeah, so I wanted to see his room. There's another guy that's building his room, and I think the other one is Sheldon. I believe that's the guy.
Yeah, Sheldon's one got the huge subs built in the ceiling, correct?
Yeah, I believe so. Yeah.
Yeah, I meant Sheldon. Sheldon's a good guy too. So, well, that's awesome, man. You're gonna have your hands full, but with a lot of fun stuff. So, am I right in thinking then you're going to be out there pretty much like Thursday to Sunday?
Yeah, I'm thinking I may leave Saturday, after the show, but it's just because I got to get back and since I'm going to fly out Wednesday night, I have to be out there early Wednesday night, and it just depends on if I take the wife and kids or not. There's Legoland and stuff like that right down the road, maybe like 5 or 6 miles in downtown, downtown Kansas City. There's also a big amusement park. So just depends on if I take the wife and kids or not. So
will you be doing any coverage for your channel out there?
Yeah, I'm definitely going to be doing some, I'm going to obviously ask the people that I'm touring, can I film their theaters and stuff like that? I don't know. I'm not going to take time away from all the other guests to interview them and everything else, but maybe I'll just do some talking head over top of everyone's theater there. And then of course, try to cover some of the setup. Thursday night's the day that we actually do the show. So Ike and I actually plan to do a live show from M-Wave there. So, maybe we can walk around and show everyone what people are setting up and, what they got, what different brands are there and everything else. So we haven't put an official plan to that, but I know we are going to do a live show from M-Wave.
Yeah, I haven't decided, Kat's going to be going out there with me. She volunteered to help Youthman's wife with like registration and stuff like that. And I'll be roaming around checking out all the rooms. I hang out a lot with the JTR guys because we're all close. But afterwards, people asking like, hey, let's grab dinner, let's grab drinks, or let's go check this out or that out. Because I went there by myself last year. And, man, talk about team no sleep. Because we did the show all day. Then we went out and did some home theaters. And I was staying at the casino. And then I was playing blackjack from like 2 a.m. till 6. Then I would go nap for like an hour, and then I was like right back at the show. But I mean, I had a great time because the first night we were there, I won enough money to buy myself a JTR Captivator playing blackjack.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So I was drinking and playing blackjack from like 2 to 6 in the morning, was up like $4,900, left the table. And I told Jeff, I said, well, I'll take that one right there. I'll take that one home with me. Here you go. I said, thanks to Ameristar Casino, Kansas City.
So did you actually drive? You actually drove there?
Yeah. I drove there on purpose because I was planning on bringing home one of the subwoofers.
Okay. Yeah. So it just happened to turn into a free one instead.
Yeah, and I'll never complain about that.
Yeah, absolutely.
And Kat and I will drive out there again. We road trip. I mean, we've driven out to Florida, New Jersey, from Chicago, New York. We're cool, man. Turn on some tunes and have a lot of laughs. We're not worried about a long road trip, so we'll have a good time.
Yeah, I looked at driving. I think it was close to like 17 hours from me. So with a 4-year-old, that's kind of tough.
Yeah, we drove from Chicago to New Jersey with like a 2-year-old, which was like a 13-hour, 14-hour, but we stopped halfway and stayed a night somewhere. And yeah, that's rough, man. That's
actually
real rough.
20 hours and 49 minutes for me. So
yeah.
Just
count all the bathroom breaks and all that stuff. It's like 30 hours.
Yeah, I'm in South Florida. I'm like 40 minutes from Miami. So yeah, it's
Oh, me and Kat, we went to Miami last year. We went down there just for me and her vacation. Beautiful, like, damn, it's expensive.
yes.
Wow, wow. Um, I couldn't find a bar or a club or a restaurant where I wasn't paying $30 a drink. It absolutely blew my mind.
Absolutely, yeah. I was telling someone today, for me, my wife, and my mother-in-law to go out to eat, it's a $200 bill,
Yeah.
just for three of us. But and unfortunately, the wages haven't adjusted to the COVID inflation yet. So, but it's it is what it is. I'm here. I enjoy living here. I don't know if I'll stay here forever. But for now, that's where we're at. So
Yeah, Kat's in the chat too. She's upstairs taking care of some other stuff. She goes, "We were not prepared."
well,
um,
maybe next time you come down, I have a big enough house. Next time you come down, we can get you guys, save you some money, maybe, and maybe just
well,
right here or something like that.
yeah, we need to set up our Florida tour because Youth Man has invited us out, and Don Dunn from Haven Smart, and then he's extended from Matthew Pose to go by his place and check out Pose Acoustics, and like we got a lot of cool connections. I got another JTR buddy that's down there, and we just need to with work. And I sure you understand this. Shit's crazy. I mean, literally, we go to Vegas a couple times a year, and I booked that within a week of even knowing. I just come home and be like, "Hey, dude, I booked Vegas for next week, so you got to get ready."
Yep.
Just my schedule just happens to fall that way. So we're gonna make it down to Florida to hang out with all you guys. We just gotta figure out a schedule, man. It's crazy. We
Yeah,
got
Youth Man wants to come down and do a theater tour as soon as I'm done with my theater. So
have you been up to Michael's place yet?
yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So the way that I met Michael was I've been a Patreon of his for a long, long time, and he actually inspired a lot of my theater build that I'm doing, putting the speakers behind the screen, and at least for the front stage and all that stuff. I'm not raising them up like he did, but mine are going to be floor level, but at ear level. But so he actually inspired a lot of what I've done, and he on his Patreon channel he actually was selling one of the he reviewed the Martin Logan 60 XTIs, and I could just see how genuine his response was for those speakers, and he was literally grinning from ear to ear on his he's either a good actor or he really liked those speakers. Let's just put it that way. So he inspired me to go out and listen to them at Best Buy, and then I bought two for my living room theater, and then I bought the center channel. And then I knew I was going to be building, the theater even before I purchased this house. I knew that how the theater was going to look, and he actually wound up selling the Martin Logan 60 XTIs that he had in for review. So I went up and I picked up from him. I went up and picked up the two 60 XTIs. My plans were to have 5 tower 60 XTIs, 2 for the front wides and three across the front stage. But then I decided that I didn't want to see any speakers. So I have an extra 60 XTI that's just floating around. That'll be, if I need it for parts, or if I need it for, whatever, it'll be there that I can, substitute, a woofer if something happens, if I decide to crank it a little too loud or something, so.
So when you went to Michael's house, what did he have? Was it the Clips set up then?
So he had the La Scalas and he had the Captivators. So on my channel, I actually did one of my first videos that I did. I called it the review of the reviewer, and I got permission from Michael to do this, just to talk about what a great person this guy was, and to describe his theater and what I actually heard there. I've not been there since he's painted and added the JTRs. I definitely need to make a track up there and check it out. But he and I chit chat, maybe once or twice, maybe like every other week, we chit chat on Facebook Messenger, and we keep up. But definitely like everything he's doing. He's inspired a lot of us,
Mhm.
in this community, and just trying to help him push this community to where it should be, to where we can all appreciate what we all have and enjoy each other's theater. So eventually I'd like to, do something like you're doing, just have a get together at the house and, invite people to come over and listen and, you know, do a comparison of projectors or do a comparison of the Mad VR versus the Lumigen. I don't have a Mad VR yet, but I do have a Lumigen. So, just stuff like that.
Yeah, and more credit to Michael as well. Just continue where you left off. He flew up for Base Bringers together and stayed up here a couple nights, and he'll be up here in May for the next one. And the days before, we went to dinner, we hung out with a bunch of people from the hobby, but at night, we literally stayed up all night and not only talked about the hobby, but talked about our family. And just this whole community is certainly more, and the responses that we get and that I hear people talk about it's good for your mental health, even just talking with other positive people. And it just happens to be that we're all connected through home theater, but everybody has financial stress or family stress, or everybody's just trying to figure life out. That it's nice that everybody's it's certainly good for your mental health. The group of guys that are in this community, if you're having a bad day, people can sense that they want to talk to you. I have so many conversations with guys I've met in this hobby. Sometimes they don't have shit to do with home theater.
Exactly.
And that's literally just what it is. When Michael was here, we had 60 people throughout the day for like 10 hours. That night, me, Mike, Jeff from JTR, a couple of the other enthusiasts, we went down to the pool hall. We shot pool for a couple hours. And then we went to Buffalo Wild Wings at like 11 o'clock at night and all grabbed a late
I don't know if you want to shoot pool with Michael. I heard he's a shark.
Yeah, you're right. I think it runs in the family because his daughter just went out to Vegas and won some kind of competition. So
exactly.
So no, and that was the first time hanging out with Michael in person. So I was like, man, what do you guys want? And Michael was just a cool dude to just go hang. I was like,
fantastic guy. Just a fantastic guy. I went to his house to purchase speakers, and at that time, we kind of said, hey, he said, hey, I'll give you a demo of the theater, and I was super excited, right? And I didn't even tell him I had a YouTube channel, and just in passing, I said, oh yeah, he was asking, what do I do on YouTube or anything like that? I said, I just started a channel. Literally sat down, went through YouTube Studio with me. We probably talked about YouTube and how to generate revenue and everything else, probably for about 2.5 hours. Just on how he's been successful with that. Just an open book of information, and willing to help everybody. And I actually had him on my channel. I know you had him on, I guess it was your first episode or so, first or second, right? And some of the same things that you mentioned, I also mentioned on my show. Just what a great individual to surround yourself around, and just the love that he has for what he does, and the love for people, whether it be home theater related or not. So definitely appreciate him in this space.
We got hey Tango, I didn't forget about you, brother. I seen that you posted a comment. I got a Dominus MK, currently saving up for one more question. Would I gain anything special with adding an 18-inch DIY ported sub to my system? I think 2 MKs in the front and 1 18 in the back. And he also says that he has the Marantz with 4 separate sub outputs. I want more bass. Well, from a tuning point, that's nice that you got 4 subs. If you're not super familiar with the mini DSP and want to tune it yourself, Tango. Now, the M and K, I believe, if those are sealed and you want to mix imported, you're going to have some phase alignment, phase shift issues around the port tuning. And depending exactly where that happens at, you can gain in certain frequencies and certainly lose in other frequencies. It's always just a general rule of thumb, and I certainly recommend. Now, I've mixed multiple ported and sealed together in my room through the years with experimenting, and if you work on placement, you work on time alignment, you work on tuning, you can make everything work together. But it's certainly a lot easier if you want to stay all ported around the same port tune or all sealed. I assuming that you want to mix the DIY in, because I know M&K makes some superb products, but they're certainly not cheap like most good things. So you're maybe thinking about it. Are you thinking about the 18 just because you want the additional violence, say, from the port, or because it's a cheaper option? I mean, if you're adding the second M&K already, I think I would just add the second one, see if that satisfies your base wants and needs, and then maybe take it to the next step of adding something else. Any additional thoughts on that, Don?
No, I think you're, right on with that. The only thing I was going to bring up about M&K was, I believe they got a new lineup of in walls. He reminded me of that. They got a new lineup of in walls coming out to literally to go. They're Dominus rated, just like the Perlissons are. But no, I think you're spot on with that with the subwoofer. The four subwoofers are, they're not going to gain you a whole lot as far as SPL, but seat to seat coverage, you'll definitely see a big difference.
He said he's new with DSP. I heard in Youthman's podcast some time ago, so sealed all the way. Yeah, and the Marantzes and the Denons that do 4, I mean, especially if you're talking with Dirac and stuff like that, or the advanced version of Odyssey, it gives you a lot of, custom integration, and they make it certainly simpler than doing everything through like a mini DSP. One of the biggest problems that I face personally with so many subs is using so many multiple mini DSPs that no receiver preamp out there will handle 8, 9, 10 subs. So certainly that Marantz with the 4 sub outputs will certainly get you started. Just do yourself a favor in general for usability and just easy. Stay all sealed or all ported, and it'll just make your life, certainly easier.
Not that you can't, tune them, the sealed and ported together, but it's difficult. It's not for someone that's a novice. Yeah,
and like Greg says, ported and sealed, no bueno. And I'm a fan of both. I use sealed in the living room. I use ported in the theater. They serve their purposes. And I've always been a big fan of a well-built ported sub and a well-built sealed sub are both good subwoofers. They just have different strong points and different disadvantages. And like in my 2-channel room, sealed subs are smaller. It's easier. I mean, it's easier for us to incorporate into the living room. In the theater, where I want the violence and the additional low-end output and the port wind that you feel going through the room, that's where the ported came in. So we won't get into discussion tonight. Some people don't like ported sub because they don't think they're fast, or some people don't like sealed because they don't have a lot of bass. None of that's true. A good sub is a good sub, and you're going to get good bass from either one, as long as they're built correctly. So got a lot of dips in his room, calibrated with Dirac. I'm currently moving the subs around. Dirac, like any other automated setup, or even if you're calibrating yourself, if it's in a bad place, it's in a bad place. You're not going to fix a huge null. You can EQ the shit out of it.
Yep.
And all you're doing is wasting amplifier power and excursion, and you're never going to make that frequency any better. So certainly I'm the guy that will literally move my sub. Well, now it don't matter because the whole room's full of them, but I would move my sub 1 foot at a time and compare all the RU graphs and be like, oh, that one spot 3 feet over was just a better spot. Because in my mind, it was silly to not. None of the subwoofers anybody buys are cheap, even if you're spending $500, $800, $1,200, $2,000. None of this is cheap. Certainly get it in the best position, so then your room correction has a lot more to work with. I think the misconception in this hobby is I'll just put it where it looks best because I got room correction. Well, unfortunately, nothing beats good placement.
Yeah, and if you can get it, on the sidewalls, center, without having to trip over it, and center in the front walls, if you got 4 subs, they seem to be the ideal positions, but we all know that, you got to have your aisle to walk down and everything else. So, it's definitely, placement it can solve a lot of stuff, without you having to really dive in and EQ, a whole lot.
Yeah, like he says, I hear you. So location first. I've always been an advocate, Tango, that the less EQ it takes, the better it sounds to me, because EQ to me adds a lot of artificial artifacts. So if I can just start with the best native and I just need a little bit of EQ to make it perfect, that's good. Once you start, because you got to realize if you got a dip at 3 dB or 6 dB, you're burning through your subwoofer amplifier power, man. Like, I mean, you're going to burn through 500 or 1,000 watts like nothing, and you're not even at near reference level yet. So you don't ever want to have to get in a situation where you're boosting multiple dBs, and especially at multiple frequencies. So
Yeah, I've not even built my theater yet, and I'm already looking to add in walls, sealed in walls, to my sides, like literally 90 degrees, so that it gives me even more coverage.
yeah,
So because I don't want to see the speaker, so I'm looking at next level. I believe they got 2 10-inches in theirs, or even the SVS 9-inchers. I think Ike is doing a review on those right now. So interested to see in how those turn out.
yeah, I wasn't even, and I used to own like 7 or 8 SVS subs. I wasn't even aware of the SVS in walls until Ike's room last night. For you guys that didn't check that out, Ike is working on his room. He just got a nice, beautiful laser projector. Extremely jealous of that. And doing all monoprice in walls, and he's doing SVS in wall subs. Well, he's got some standout in the room SVS subs as well too. But yeah, if you guys didn't check out Home Theater Hubs from last night, I was on there. Ike was doing a room walkthrough. What Don was talking about, the guy that built the drum set with the speakers, and so there's a lot of good content, a lot of interesting content last night. So that's certainly a point that we all, as I don't know, it's weird saying we're YouTube creators, but all of us that are pushing content out, we try to make interesting stuff for you guys to check out.
Definitely. Yeah, and as I mentioned earlier, we try to do a theater tour, almost every episode. Whether mine wasn't so much a theater tour, the one prior to that, but I did have about 100 pictures of my build as it was going along. But every other episode, we've had theater tour. Michael did a theater tour. We did a theater tour with Haterade Cowboy. Scott's going to come on. We're going to get him to come on and do a theater tour with us. We haven't officially set a date, but honestly, Scott, we're open. So for this month, for the rest of this.
Yeah, let me. We can actually in real time figure this out right now, because me and Ike were talking about it too. I said, yeah, talk with Don and let me know. But yeah, like if we were talking about doing it on Thursday night, then let's certainly do it on like Thursday the 11th.
Sounds good. I'll schedule you. So everybody come in and come over to Horizon Home Theater and Ike's channel, which is Easy HT Tech. We'll be streaming live on the 11th. Your host, Mr. Scott Newby's Theater.
Yeah, and I'll have Kat on there with me too, and we'll it's much easier to watch a podcast when I have her on there, because you don't have to look at this. Greg, I've been buddies with Greg for a while. Hey, thanks for hanging out with us, buddy. He said, interested to know how much did aesthetics come into consideration when designing your theaters? Well, I'll let you answer that question first, Don, since you're in the middle of a build.
Yeah, so I'm not like your typical guy that just wants a black theater, so I do want to have a little bit of pop of color, a little bit of color. I know it's not ideal. I do plan on for the first 5 or 8 feet, I plan on having velvet on the side walls to make it, and the front wall will all be blacked out. So, that first, the screen will actually look like it's floating, in the front. And then in the back, I'm going to do fabric. I kind of got an idea of the design of what I want to do. But it's eventually going to be fabric. Whether it goes floor to ceiling, I'm not sure. I may leave like a 1 foot gap at the top, 1 foot gap at the bottom, and put some kind of patterning in there. So yeah, aesthetics for me, functional aesthetics for me is a big thing. They're going by functional, I mean that I'm going to be putting diffusion and absorption behind the aesthetics. So That way, all that stuff will be hidden. You'll literally walk in, and the only two speakers you may see will be the two subs in the back and the two rear channels, just because I don't have the depth and I don't want to do in walls in the back. So I'm trying to stay away from doing in walls other than my two wide channels. And that's just because I don't have the room for it.
And in my rooms, Greg, in the living room, aesthetics did play some role. You know, Kat was certainly fine. She fell in love with the RTJs, even though they're black and industrial looking, floor to ceiling. But she didn't want room treatments all over the place, so I did the GIK 5-inch panels behind them. We switched over to an all fabric couch, did a big area rug. We switched over to heavy duty curtains to make it still be a space that she enjoyed. A lot of people are like, oh, the wife approval factor on those speakers is 0. She actually likes them. I mean, she was the one that decided she wanted those speakers to stay. We've had a lot of speakers through this house. So aesthetics did play some in there. In the theater, I mean, if you've seen my theater, it's certainly all about just performance. When building the room, I knew what I wanted to do for SPL wise. I didn't want anything to block any of the speakers. Room treatments went where they needed to go, regardless of how that they looked. Subwoofers went obviously all over the room for just the performance aspect. Now, when I walk into the room, I enjoy the way that it looks. It's got kind of an industrial look to it. It's not very like warm and welcoming, inviting. A lot of people explain it's like a little bit of intimidating and kind of cold, which is fine. So that's just kind of the 2-channel setup is more welcoming. We have a lot of fires in the fireplace, got music playing all the time. It's a welcoming space. The theater, I want there to be just a sense of fear when you sit down in the seat. So
let me see if I can pull something up here and share it. It'll share.
Greg says she certainly is your partner in crime. Hey, you know, Greg, when RTJ shipped those over for a big event that we had, and we set those up, I wasn't intending on buying them because they were pretty expensive. The night before, we had everything set up, and me and her having a couple of cocktails, and she went through like the whole Metallica Black album on them, her controlling the volume. What she was upset because we had a volume limiter set, which was around 115 dB, and she had that. She's like, this won't go no louder than this. And I was like, dude, it's midnight, first of all. I said, and so she ran through the whole Black album, then did a whole Dave Matthews Band album. And after the event, she's like, man, I know they're pricey, but they'll stick around for a long time. We'll use them all the time. Just don't. She's like, just make it happen. I don't want them to leave. So I was like, well, you ain't got to twist my arm too hard. But it's certainly buy once, cry once. Everybody's like, that's a lot of money for a set of speakers. But I promise everybody, I will keep those speakers until the termites eat the boxes. Those are 10-year speakers or more.
Well, being in the pest control industry, you're in Chicago, so I don't think you have anything to worry about up there, right? Not yet, anyway.
Okay, Don. So you got something here we're going to add to the stage?
Yeah. So this is kind of what I'm hoping to design in the sidewall. So it's something like this. I'm not sure if I'm going to do maybe just these lines here as LEDs. Deciding whether I just put an LED border around it. I also toyed with this one here too. It's more like a diamond, a square inside of a square. So this would be the sidewall here, and as I mentioned, the first 5 to 8 feet is going to be all blacked out, and then this would the design itself would be, with the rear portion of the theater, so past 5 feet or 8 feet all the way to the back. So just showing some aesthetics that I was, what the question is. So yeah, aesthetics is important to me. So I'm going to be doing a tan seating and probably a darker color rug, like a dark brown, or with some pattern or something like that in it. So that's just some of the aesthetics that we're looking at there.
Tango says looks nice. I agree. So what is in your mind a completion date? Like, I'd like to have this wrapped up by July, or is there any kind of rough idea in your head of how this is working out?
So it's now going on 2.5 years. So I want to get this functionable. So what to where I can sit down and watch a movie, whether the fabric walls get done right away or not, probably not, right? So I want to get it functionable, and I want to get it to where I can start enjoying content, because I can tell you that I got about, I don't know, 1,500 movies or so on my Zapedi that I want to watch. I got all kind of stuff that I've not even watched because I'm too stubborn to watch it on like a television.
Yeah.
And as I mentioned, I did have a home theater in my living room, and that wasn't a slouch. I had a seven, and I stacked 3 rails in my living room, right? It's the 3 rails, 15s. And I mentioned this story on our channel. I have an open concept. So my kitchen, then a small dining, eat-in kitchen area, and then my living room. So it's all wide open. And I would actually use my Martin Logan Tower speaker boxes to pull my rear channels out. I would set them on top. I'd set up the boxes and I'd set the rear channels up on top, and I'd move them back and forth all the time just to be able to get that surround sound effect. I did have speakers in the ceiling, but honestly, they weren't in the correct position because they were actually set up as an LCR, but in the ceiling prior to me buying the house. So, and then I did have 2 rear in the right position, 2 rear surrounds, so those kind of acted like Atmos, but they weren't actually set up well. But I tell you what, going through one of the Atmos demos that they have for Adobe Atmos, it's the one where it walks around the room, boom, 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 boom.
Mm-hmm.
I got perfect panning through all the speakers, so it was good enough for me. So.
Cat just chimed in here. Ike said 2025.
No. So the time to get right now, I literally have the ceiling done. I have 1 wall almost complete. That wall, I did all the studs 24 on center, but that wall actually has 2 windows and a door. So nothing really lined up. So I had to cut all the sheets of the drywall. I'm doing double 5/8 drywall with R34 insulation behind it. There's a 9-inch gap between my actual wall, which is a cement wall in Florida because we got to protect ourselves from hurricanes. And then I built 9 inches off of that. So there's R34 in there. Plus I'm doing double drywall, 5/8 with green glue. And I'm done with the ceiling, and I'm 3/4 of the way done with 1 wall. The other wall is all straight shot. It's going to be 24 on center. It should fly. I should fly right through that. The back wall, same thing. The builder actually built that wall. I didn't tear that down. That's 16 on center, just 1 doorway to cut around. So that should fly through. So I'm hoping to have a functional theater by the end of March, to where I can sit down, watch a movie, and it's not going to be aesthetically pleasing, the way that I want it to be. It's not my envision, but I'll put together some, I'll throw together some cheap panels just to, build something out of some 1x4s or something like that, just to throw some panels in there just to get some of the reverb out of there, and some of the absorb something. But I'm going to have a functional theater hopefully by the end of March. I'm going to take a vacation just so that I can try to get all this done. April at the latest. Plus, I'm up against a timeline because one of my other co-hosts, Paul, he's got a friend that they're challenging me. He's getting a house built, and every week he keeps giving me an update on where he's at and how he's going to beat me building a whole house versus getting my theater done. So, honestly, I don't feel bad because I've seen a bunch of people on the Facebook groups, and the guy and they're like, after 5 years I'm finally done, or after 4 years I'm finally done. So I'm not in that realm yet, but I'm getting there, right? So
It seems like a lot of us are the same. Warren says, I'm with you, putting off many shows and movies until his theater's finished. And Kat just wrote, Scott's the same. Won't watch a new movie till we can make time to watch it in the theater. Yeah, I mean, if we watch a comedy or a romantic movie or something, I mean, I don't care. We can watch it anywhere in the house. But, any action movie or anything like that, I got so many movies wrapped in plastic still. I'm like, not until we can find some time to knock these out in the theater, I won't watch them anywhere else.
I'm trying to find a picture that we can share of somewhere that it's somewhere of completion. Let's see here. All those pictures are too big. You guys don't really want to look at drywall. It's like watching paint dry.
Yeah. I think a lot of our theaters are work in progress, man. My ceiling, it's so depressing to think about my ceiling, and just having to move everything out of my room to work on my ceiling is going to be such a pain in the ass.
Let me see if I can share this one picture. This will be interesting for your audience. Give me one. Let's see, window, this right here. Let me share this. Here we go. So this will show you how I do stuff. I got the NZ8 going in there, so I like to make sure that whatever I'm building is going to be able to hold that $16,000 projector. So
yeah, no doubt, right?
I go about 240. So
that's awesome. So what? So the finished dimensions on this room are going to be what, Don?
So the actual dimensions of the room are 18 wide by 23 and a half deep. But as you can see, these walls over here, I came 9 inches off the walls, and then I built a 2-foot build out, a baffle wall in the front. So we're going to be about 16 and a half to 17 wide, and we're going to be 21 and a half deep after, viewable distance. But there is, like I said, the front wall is going to be all wide open. There's not any drywall. It's just going to be all acoustically transparent fabric, so that I don't get any reverb behind there. See if I got a picture of the front wall here.
Yeah, that's going to be a nice size space. Tango says he has to bounce. Tango's from Denmark. He said everything's looking good, Don. He's looking forward to seeing your home theater done soon. Yeah, Tango, if you haven't subscribed to Horizon Home Theater yet, check it out. These guys are troopers, and I'm already past an hour, so we'll be wrapping this up shortly. But these guys, man, they do 2 to 3 hours every week. So it definitely, Tango, man. If you want to do some catching up on some home theater talk, they have guests in and out of their show. It's like a party hotline for home theater, man. So give these boys a watch, no doubt. So hope you feel better, Tango. Enjoy your evening or your morning. Not too familiar with Denmark timing. I think it's early morning over there now. So take it easy, buddy.
Yeah. So I try to make it like a big Zoom call, like a party call. You remember back in the some of us older, remember those party lines you just used to call and get on, right? But that's exactly what I wanted to be. Just fun, people dropping in and out, and
you never know who's going to show up.
Yeah, just talking about, we try to have at least one guest that we know that's going to do a theater tour. But hey, if somebody else has got something that they added to the theater, or want to show or ask some questions about, maybe some construction. We have a guy, Chuck, on here that's he's a certified handyman. I mean, he really does everything. So and then Paul is just phenomenal as far as anything technical. I think he's done over like 1,500 measurements on REW in his room. So he's very, very well versed in that, versed in the audio side of it. So, those guys complement, they definitely compliment me because they know way more than I do. So,
well, Warren has a question for you, Don. He says, since you're on the topic of construction, what are you using for component racks, consumer AV cells like Sonus or 4-post racks, Middle Atlantic? He's in the middle of a home theater build himself. So any advice or anything that you've encountered along the way as you're building your room?
Yeah, so my rack is actually going to be outside of the room. You can see, let me see. I know you're short on time here. See if I can share this screen. I put a tube everywhere. So my rack is actually out of the room, and I'm using a Middle Atlantic 42U rack. I don't know if I can get to a picture of that very quickly for you.
Are you a dealer for them, Don?
For Mid-Atlantic, no, I'm not a dealer for them. That's my rack, if you can see that.
Well, was this an X-rated show? You can't talk like that.
I went to the plastic surgeon the other day.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Awesome.
that's the rack that I'm running there. It's a 42 rack. It's in a closet. If you can see those steps that are right behind it, it's in a closet right next to those steps. Off to the side of that is the dining area that I ran the see if I can get back to that picture of the floor plan. Where is that at? Let's see. Get back to that very quickly. Those are just some ideas. So you see there's a storage area under the steps. I didn't use the dining room that's highlighted in yellow, but I combined the office and a one-car garage for the I would have loved to take the dining room, but I actually did get my way. We're going to turn that dining room into we don't ever use the dining room. So I'm going to turn that dining room into a like a pre-theater room. I'm going to put a 100-inch TV on that little indentation up there where the storage is, turn it into like a little gaming. I may even do like a 2-channel setup in there. May talk to Martin Logan about putting some of the higher end electrostats in that area and use it as like a show area.
Oh, that'd be sweet.
So yeah.
Oh, Tango said he's been subscribing to your channel for quite some time now. So that's cool, man.
Definitely appreciate the support. Come on over. We'd love to take a theater tour of your home if you're interested, even if you don't want to come on camera. We can just put an icon up and share some pictures or something like that.
So for everybody that's joining late, I will be on Horizon Home Theater, Easy HT Tech's channel, their home theater hub where they go on every week. April 11th, Kat and I will be on. We're going to do a room tour of our room, hang out with the guys for a little bit. Certainly appreciate you guys hanging out with us tonight. Don, I certainly appreciate you giving up time on a Friday night. You're a family man. You work tomorrow as well as I do, so for you to come on here, but I cannot let you go. And I always lie. I tell everybody an hour. We're already at an hour 18. But I gotta get, because so many people ask us, and I'm always so interested. You're obviously big in the home theater. You go into different shows. Can you share a couple of your movie and music go-tos? Like when you get your theater done, what are the movies that you're clicking on right away to make sure everything's set up right?
So like everybody else, you gotta start off with Ready Player One. I'm most familiar with that. Even though it is a static Atmos mix, but it's just iconic, right? So got to do Ready Player One. I'm very familiar with that. I mentioned the Dolby Atmos, one of the Dolby Atmos tracks that they use to demonstrate Dolby Atmos, and that's the one where it literally pans. It's like doom 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 doom. It pans around the whole entire every single speaker gets hit. So I use that a lot, and that's actually on. It's really weird. I really like Deep Water Horizon as far as Atmos and sound. And I found the discovery where I found that Dolby Atmos demo is actually on the Blu-ray version of the Deepwater Horizon. But funny enough, it's not on the 4K version. So if you they give you both discs, but if you pop the 4K in, you'll never hear that intro. But if you use the Blu-ray disc, it shows you that intro of Dolby Atmos to where it walks around all the speakers every single time.
Which is an amazing demo. I don't know why they did that.
Yeah. I have no clue, but for those of you out there that own it, pop in the Blu-ray. I'm sure all of us that are in this space we've heard it before, but another one is Chaos Walking. There is a lot of overhead activity for Atmos in that particular movie. And then your typical Aquaman, your John Wicks, and then Spider-Man, No Way Home. They're all a lot of the Far From Home, the No Way Home, and then you got all the Spider-Man stuff. The cartoon version. What is it? Both of the new versions that they have available now. I've not seen the newest one because I'm saving it. So
yeah, and I'm not huge into the Spider-Man scene, but on my demo reels through the Zapedi, the one with Doctor Strange where they're kind of battling out in this alternate universe with the train going through the middle of the sky, and that's on my demo reel, and that's just an amazing demo.
One thing that really showcases that I didn't mention, it goes from 0 to 100 is, and Kellen actually got me from Dream Media. We were watching Quiet Place 2, and I was kind of standing at the back of the room, and I forgot about that. I waited to disassemble my theater to give me motivation. The living room theater. I waited to watch that movie, and then the very next day I disassembled my living room home theater. But man, in the beginning of that movie, it goes from quiet to loud to quiet to loud. And then they have, well, not to spoil it for anybody, but they have a creature that runs across the screen. And I tell you what, I was standing in the back of their room at the Florida Expo, and I about jumped out of my seat because and Kellen goes, "Got him." Like, yeah, you definitely got me. I forgot about that scene. So
that's awesome.
Yeah, Quiet Place, definitely. Because I like the how it goes from 0 to 100 right away.
I promised for my wife the first movie would be Greatest Showman, not necessarily The Greatest Showman has great audio, and that beginning opening, man, that'll work some speakers for sure too.
Yeah, and if you like concerts, I tell you what, the Sting concert in Atmos is phenomenal. And also the Adele concert. One thing about Kaleidoscape is they have a lot of concerts in Atmos on their system. And the Hans Zimmer, I mean, who's not heard Hans Zimmer? I mean, just phenomenal demo stuff.
Yeah, I believe so many of us have used that Hans Zimmer disc. I mean, the lows, the high, and who's not familiar with that music? I mean, Batman and all the, I mean,
Pirates.
Interstellar. You can watch those clips with your eyes closed, and you can just envision the scene out of the movie. So certainly this goes for anybody. If you have not purchased that Hans Zimmer Live in Progress, that is a must own any day of the week. $15, $20, $30, whatever it is, pick it up. You will not regret it.
Yeah, definitely. I tell you, one that really surprised me was Bohemian Rhapsody too, because it literally sounded like I was in the crowd, listening to that. So that's a phenomenal. And then you got Ford versus Ferrari also. That's those are great.
And that's just a great movie.
Exactly.
Let alone just a great audio and video treat. It's just an amazing story as well too.
Yep. Yeah. I've not seen the what's the new racing movie that's out right now? It's a true story about
Gran Turismo.
Yeah, Gran Turismo. I'm saving that because
it's worth saving. Kat and I watched it in the theater. Good story, great audio, great video. You're in for a treat for sure.
Yeah. I've heard it's fantastic. I really enjoy watching. I don't watch TV, so I enjoy.
Yeah, me neither.
Most of the time, I'm watching Coco Melon or Bluey or something like that. Yeah. But if I'm not consuming that, it's usually home theater stuff and people doing reviews like Shane Lee for movies and I watch a couple of other movie reviewers, that actually, I like Shane Lee because he rates the Atmos, and that's what makes me have a buying decision or not. So I like his movie reviews. He's not been doing them recently because his theaters tore apart. I believe he just bought a new house and going to be getting it going again. But yeah, no, I appreciate those reviews, especially then. You can just pull up the end of the year reviews for a lot of these guys. They have a list of their best movies for 2023 or 2024. So.
Yeah, no, and that's the same thing. A lot of these guys, the best products that they've ran into, the best speakers, the best subs, the best TVs, and obviously they're doing it to help their community. It's also great content for them. But I mean, it's very helpful for us to be like, I mean, you can go watch a 15-minute video and probably get 10 great movies.
Absolutely.
That you would never even hear about or know about. So, all right, everybody, we're approaching an hour and a half. We certainly appreciate, like I said, if you have not checked out the Home Theater Hub, certainly do that. I will be back on here next week with Ace of Base Home Theater and Don Dunn from Audioholics. Kat and I will be on next Friday night as well. April 11th, I will be on the Home Theater Hub. So if you guys are hanging out over there,
March 11th.
March 11th, yes.
So just to clarify, the Home Theater Hub is the name of the show. The actual channels, the actual show is streamed on both Ike and my channel. Easy HT Tech is where you can find the show, and Horizon Home Theater. So those are where you can find the show. And we on Thursday night we just call it Home Theater Hub. Eventually we'll probably put a separate channel together just for that.
Yeah, and just to clarify too, because I was confused for a second, it's actually going to be March 14th, Thursday, March 14th. It was April 11th. I got so much stuff on my calendar. I was confused for a minute. So March 14th, Kat and I will be on, and we'll just chat about home theater in general and do a tour around the room. And I'm sure who's ever on there, if they have any questions, ask. We're open to talk about anything, and we'll get on with these guys and hang out for an hour or two, and just have a good time.
Yeah, definitely. I look forward to having you on. I just put you on my calendar too, so that way I make sure I don't mess that up. And we'll definitely announce it. I'll put it on some of the Facebook groups that you're going to be joining. I know Youth Man Michael allows me to post some stuff. I have a couple of good friends, John Anthony. He runs the Monolith group, enthusiast group, and he also runs the Mad VR group on Facebook. He's the one that started those, so he allows me to post advertisements and stuff like that too. So anyone that's not familiar with our channels, please come on over and check us out.
Yep. Hey, Sci-Phonics Audio just said, almost missed it. Well, you caught the very end, brother. We just got done hanging out for an hour and a half. Like, once again, for Friday night, Don, for you to take it away from your family, and you're a busy man. I appreciate your time. And like everybody else, I appreciate you guys hanging out with us on a Friday night. We will see everybody soon. Don and I will chat with you in the green room for a hot minute. And everybody, enjoy your evening. And we'll see you guys all